We're back at Sandown Raceway on day number 2, the Shannons Nationals. And we're getting set now for the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge out on the circuit here. S5000 not too far away. We just saw a great Astron take pole position. And pole going to the Argentinian on debut here, Nesta Girolami. So we head back to the pit lane with Emma Francesco.
Thank you very much, Matt Nolte. Of course, we're just about to get set and ready to go racing for the Porsche Michelin GT3 Cup Challenge. Now, a huge day yesterday, 2 practice session and a qualifying sessions as the car roll into the lane. In practice session number 2, there was quite a big incident between Michael Hovey and Rob Woods. Rob Woods' car was very significantly damaged. Spoke to Garth Walden afterwards, thought that car was going to go back into the truck for the weekend, but as he is sitting 4th in his class, the guys did a late night drop off to the local panel shop. Then they picked it up at 4:30 a.m. this morning and worked on it. So Rob Woods back out onto the grid. Great work to the Garth Walden racing team, boys.
Nice update, Emma, down in pit lane. It was a very busy day in qualifying, which was shortened yesterday afternoon. We, in fact, really gave that 6 o'clock curfew a nudge yesterday. Richard Crowell's alongside me. How good has this series been this year? It's been phenomenal.
Yeah, it's been extraordinary, Matt. Good morning to you. Good morning to everyone. I can add to what Emma was just updating with that collision with Michael Hovey. 2 key contenders in the Pro-Am class, Tag Heuer Pro-Am of Porsche Michelin GT3 Cup Challenge. Michael Hovey's car had almost identical damage. It was a front-to-front contact after Hobbs had spun on the exit of turn number 4, the run up onto the back straight. Both cars fixed. Huge testament to the teams that work so hard throughout the day, and then they have to pull an all-nighter to get cars patched up and good to go. But as you said, this racing has been extraordinary this year. Some of the hardest and fastest we've seen across the balance of national categories. And I think the level of competition is only going to be building, Matt, as we build towards tomorrow morning, which is the final round of the Jim Richards Endurance Trophy, which is a key part of this series, and then to the final round of Cup Challenge at the Ben Motorsport Park in November.
It's such a good feeder category. It's just been brewing for so many years right now. It's the next generation of Carrera Cup drivers coming through the field. Harry Jones, who scored pole position yesterday by just over a 10th and a half a second, and South Aussie Max Fideau will join him on that front race. Go back to the pit lane with Jack Perkins.
Yeah, guys, it's starting to drizzle down here in pit lane. A few raindrops on the glasses, so that's normally a giveaway for me. And you see all the teams bringing their brand new Michelin wets down here. So what you got to do in these situations, get out there and get out there really quick, get that lap time in before it's too much rain, because right now it's definitely not raining enough for wets, but it's only going to get worse.
Thanks, Jack. And talking to the teams, they're in very much agreement to what he was saying, in that you just need to get this race started, because even if you get light drizzle on the circuit, the temperature in the bitumen and in the Michelin tyres will see you through light rain. If it gets hard and you allow that standing water to build up, that's when you need to start looking at putting on wet tyres. So everyone will be very keen to, at the very least, get this race started, build some tyre temperature, keep the track temperature up as well, and that might see them through any light showers that come across, and we can get a full 13-lap race distance in.
I remarked at the top of the TCR qualifying session too how much the weather had changed. I mean, it is Melbourne, after all. We do see significant weather changes over here from time, but mid-20s in the temperature range yesterday here, but a cool change come through earlier this morning. The wind dropped away. It was a howling tailwind towards turn number 1. That's all but gone right now, but it's going to be interesting how it plays off over the next 13 laps around here for Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge, and a nice field of 19 cars on the backside of the circuit right now.
And Matt, this bit of road, this is the first opportunity we get to see how the changes at turn 6 and 7 and 8 affect the way they race here at Sandown. We've seen it over one lap. Let's see it in racing conditions. Here's how they line up. Harry Jones has yet to finish outside the top 3 in a race this season. He's in remarkably good form. Max Fideau, one of his closest challenges in the championship. Aaron Love just a few points in front in second. Christian Pancioni, the hometown boy, going really well. He qualified 4th. The big story in this top 10, Sam Shahin on pole in Tag Heuer Pro-Am. Ryan Sewell qualified 4th. There was a penalty for an off-track infringement in pit lane after the session. He went one way when he was directed to go the other. So he's had a grid position penalty and will start from 7th.
Danny Studdard starts out of 8th position for this race. Oliver Shannon jumps into the car that Cameron Crick has been driving this year. Brett Bolton starts out of position number 10 for race number 1.
Matt Belford, really good qualifying performance for the Pro-Am driver in 11th. Ross McGregor, 34th round this weekend. It's a record in the history of the championship. David Gregg, Class B pole sitter, going from 13th. Graham Williams, Jonathan Glixton, Nathan Murray, big Geelong fan. He's not in great spirits this morning. Andrew Goldie, Michael Hovey and Rob Woods, the 2 cars with damage, start off the back of a 19-car field. The grids have been outstanding this season, and the competition at the pointy end between this group of drivers in shot has been outstanding. Some of the hardest racing we've seen, and there's still 6 races and 2 rounds to go in the championship for a whole lot more of it.
You could be forgiven for thinking that was a Carrera Cup front row. We just saw right then. We look at McGregor towards the back of this field, and we're hearing the weather's just starting to get a little bit more fierce outside here at Sandown Raceway. Turn number 1 is always interesting, dry or wet. If you remember that race from last year where the hail fell late in the race. This is race number 1, GT3 Cup Challenge here at Sandown.
Away we go. Great start from pole position. Harry Jones in the blue and black Helimod's car. Absolutely perfect launch, and he's got a couple of car lengths already. Moves across to the inside to cover his line. That's Aaron Love in second. Tom Taplin, black and yellow car, Richmond colours, up into third place. Really good start for the young South Aussie, but he's bowled wide at turn 1 and he's off the road.
It's out of bounds on the 4, isn't he? Back to 4th position on the first lap as some cars scatter on the outside of that curb. We're 2 and 3 wide through the chicane towards the top of turn 2 and 3. The first of 13 laps.
Wow, Brett Bolton, bold living car, centre of screen, brilliant start. McElroy racing driver, he's in a battle with Sam Shahin in Tayakuya Pro-Am. Sam, car 13, windscreen wiper on, has dropped back almost outside the top 10. So terrible start for our class leader. This is a critical round in that race within a race in Michelin GT3 Cup Challenge, and that series is just as important as the outright fight.
He's going in deep too, gets the job done, moves back up into 8th position, but that car was skating through turn number 6. That's the revised turn 6 region, a lot more on the outfield there to use. So in the tricky conditions, they can use that, but not recommended during the race. It's down towards the final set of turns. Some cars with windscreen wipers on, others electing not to, but we're through for the first of 13 laps here at Sandown.
So instantly, we're seeing them using more curb at turn 7, the run down the hill towards Dandenong Road, using a lot more on drivers right as they go down the hill. So that will play a role as the races go. Race control are going to be very strict this weekend in policing track limits there. But this is all exploratory stuff for Michelin GT3 Cup Challenge. Indeed, anyone here this weekend. And there'll be a lot of teams and drivers in pit lane in all of the categories watching to see how this plays out, because they're going to learn off the Porsches to see how they're going to race when they go out later today.
You can hear the cars under brakes just skating their way through turn number 1 as Jones has 2 seconds on the field. Aaron Love, Pancioni is 3rd, Tommy Taplin in 4th place, Max Verdot in 5th now. He's dropped down the field a bit, then Ryan Sewell, Bolton, Shaheen is up to 8th, Studdard and Belford is your top 10. Lap 2 and more raindrops on the lens on the backside of this Sandown Raceway.
Currently 17 degrees, track temperature 19 degrees, those numbers provided by our friends at Michelin. But that's going to change with a little bit of precipitation. The track temperature might come down. So these conditions will change over the course of a 13-lap sprint race. We'll monitor that for you. Max Verdot on screen. He's defending from Ryan Sewell in the McElroy racing car. He's 5th. So qualified much better than that. Started on the front row in the Bob Jane T-Mart's Sonic Motor Racing entry. Not a great launch. And in fact, everyone on the right-hand side, which should be the gripped up side of the road, went backwards. It was drivers left that launched brilliantly.
Yeah, particularly Shaheen, who dropped several positions at the start. Now Love into turn number 1. Sorry, it's Verdot that was under attack into turn number 1 now. As Jones sets the fastest lap of the race, the gap is out to 2.2 seconds, 1:14.1 in these conditions. We're still 3 seconds away from the dry time, so the track is damp out there.
Matt, he's got enormous pace, and in the first sector of this lap, he was 1 second quicker than Aaron Love in second place, and that's in a 27-second segment of Sandown's just over 3 kilometres. The McElroy racing driver, the championship leader, is crushing them in the early stages. He's got great cold tyre pace. There he is, blue and black Helimod's car. He's a terrific young man, engineering student, splits his time between full-time studies. He's a driver coach as well to a group of drivers, works with James Winslow on that, and he works at McElroy Racing, and he preps his race car. He's a very smart, switched-on young man. Attempted move, Ryan Sewell just looked to send one down the inside at the right-hander, backed out of it. And that's a smart move because that would have been contact. He wasn't far enough up the inside. Verdot shut the door as he's entitled to do. That was his corner, and we avoided an accident, which is good news for all.
And too early in the race for that kind of stuff to be going on. Lap 4 of 13, it's still Jones from Love.
Oh, I thought that was a drama there, but just going past a bit of lap traffic there in Andrew Goldie in car 22, the Class B runner who had a crash down at turn 1 yesterday. But it just caught Harry Jones out, and he's dropped quite a bit of time with that.
So he's struggling to get back onto the circuit. That's the car that was repaired from the incident yesterday during qualifying. So we head down the back straight once again. Now it's Pancioni, the quickest on the circuit. Still threatening skies around Sandown. The wind has died to absolutely nothing. It's down towards turn number 6. We pick up Tommy Taplin, Vidot, and Ryan Sewell. 3-car scrap into that extremely fast left-hander. He's gone wide across the top and will take the inside the track, and this will let Vidot go down the inside. They almost get panel to panel there.
Well, that's another tick in the box for the changes made to that bit of road here at Sandown, is you can rejoin there safely if you're given room, and Sewell will look down the inside of Tom Taplin as well, and he'll get the spot. So a critical error has cost the South Australian teenager 2 places. And the dramas down at turn 1, a lap ago, cost Harry Jones 2.5 seconds. He's been reeled in by Aaron Love, who's just punched out the fastest lap of the race and is right up behind the race leader. And all of a sudden, that McElrea v Sonic rivalry that we've seen over the years in Porsche Pace Carrera Cup Australia, and indeed this championship continues. And look who's getting in behind, the young man from Rowville, high school student Christian Pancioni in the VCM performance car from Ash Seaward Motorsport. He's right in the mix. It's a 3-car battle for the lead, Matt Nolte.
It's really energised the race. Windscreen wipers on again, but the track is dry at the moment. 1:11.9 is about 8 tenths away from the lap record held by Max Vidot. So conditions are fine. It's now pulls out for the move. Turn 6 side by side here. Gets it done. Nice work. Goes a fraction wide, but seals the deal.
Great driving. Went quite deep, but was able to get the car turned. Didn't use too much of that curb at turn 7. Good pass. He's got great pace as the track has evolved. And Harry Jones is about 1.5 seconds a lap slower at the moment than the 17-year-old West Aussie who's in front. And Sam Shahin is off the road. That's down at Dandenong Road. A trip through the gravel, and he's going to tumble down the order. He was 8th at the time.
It's going to put him well down outside the top 10. So Love into the lead. Behind him is Jones. Pancioni now lining up for an attack at second position on the Helimods number 12 entry. Into turn number 1. Nearly halfway home here. Race 1 of the Porsche Michelin GT3 Cup Challenge here today at Sandown.
Tell you what, Matt, there's nothing wrong with the racetrack because 1:11.51 for Ryan Sewell last time by, so all of a sudden his car's energised and it's got pace. It's only 4 tenths off the lap record. Now, there has been some resurfacing in parts, so the circuit is inherently quicker, but even with this light rain, there is real pace in the circuit at the moment. The conditions just right. The Michelins are up to temperature and pressure now. They're a tyre that takes some time to come on. That's why in qualifying we often see pole position decided right at the very end of the session. So they're producing their best right about now, 7 laps into the motor race, and that's why the pace is building. And this top 5, look at them all condensing up in this battle for the lead.
So it settles down. It's down the inside. Door slams shut. So Pancioni had to get up on the curb then to avoid a contact with Harry Jones. And now we've got 2 more cars buying into this because Max Vidot and Ryan Sewell is about to set another fastest lap of the race. He's in 5th position, joining this 5-car scrap for the battle here at Sandown.
And Ryan Sewell takes a 10th out of the lap record. 1:11.00. That's a new benchmark for a GT3 Cup car in this series, at least at Sandown Raceway. The circuit is fast, and these guys, these young guys, are driving them very, very hard as well. So the fastest car on the track is the 5th in this leading queue for the race lead.
Keep an eye on him as now Love puts nearly a second on Jones. Pancioni still 3rd. Vidot and Sewell. Taplin is still 6th now. Bolton is 7th. Then started. Shaheen only lost 1 position in that off down at Dandenong Road corner. He's in 9th, and Belford completes the top 10. Ollie Shannon on debut, 11th place, is off the circuit. Off the circuit now goes Pancioni. He'll drop to the tail of this field now.
So that was quite a big moment. Never looked like getting the thing turned in at turn 6. And Vidot was up the inside, committed. And Pancioni took to that gravel trap ultimately, which is at the end of that new paved runoff area they've got there with a massive extra runoff on driver's right to try and avoid some of those big crashes. We'll have another look at that. So watch for the yellow car. That's Max Vidot going up the inside. They're wheel to wheel. Pancioni decides he's not going to commit. He's not going to have the car turned in time to stay in the racing boundaries of the racetrack. The yellow lines. And it ultimately shortcuts. I think that's a tick for that bit of road, Matt. I think that's working as designed. You can barrel across. They're not taking the mickey too much with it yet. They will, eventually. They're racing car drivers. But it's allowing some clean racing. And if you run wide, you can recover. You can rejoin safely without going through the grass that was once there and ultimately having a crash.
And proves, too, that still only 1 car wide through there, because once you get off the racing line, it's still dusty. Construction works that have gone on there in the recent weeks to get that part modified. Will take some while to rub it down. Look in the background, this shot. We've got Sewell and Vidot. Vidot pulls out for the move at Dandenong Road corner in the Bob Jane T-Mart's entry. What's their contact? Vidot goes around. Vidot goes around. He'll bag up the Michelins, but he'll drop a couple of positions in the process.
Little 1%ers like that are what cost you a championship. That's a very big moment for Max Vidot, and it's happened a couple of times. He's third in the series. He's only 8 points behind Aaron Love, who's now leading this race, but he's pointing the wrong way. And that is just a critical error. He went for the move up the inside. That's his engineer, Mike Henry, on the radio, coaching his driver through. A few stern words, perhaps, but just squeezed. And on the exit, maybe a little bit too much right foot, spun the rears, and the car went round. We'll check it out again.
So across the top of turn 6, you'll see him come into shot right now. That's the leaders now. It started there where he went wide. That opened up the position for Vidot to put it down the inside. You've got to be highly committed down here to begin with. He was up on the curb and unloaded himself.
And I'm not sure what else Ryan Sewell could have done. He was very, very wide. He saw the bright yellow car coming down the inside, gave him racing room. I'm not sure there was contact there, Matt. I think the Bob Jane car just on the inside, it was unloaded, lost the rear and spun.
Yeah, agreed.
And as a result, he's now scored in 6th place, but it may even be further back than that.
Big margin from first to last right now of nearly a minute. We're not seeing these big losers when they do have the spins across the backside of the circuit. Here comes the second place man now as we complete another lap, and just like that, it's 10 in the books here at Sandown Raceway, race 1 of the Porsche Michelin GT3 Cup Challenge. So it gets the pointy end of season 2019.
And they're trading records at the front. Aaron Love, 10.5, new lap record. Harry Jones, 10.5, new lap record. Ryan Sewell, who's third, goes even faster, 10.50, new lap record. The top 6 cars are all beneath the existing lap record here at Sandown. So despite the conditions, this is a very fast racetrack, and the intensity at the front of the field is very, very high. Now, what's occurred, Matt, as this race has gone on, is that Harry Jones's car has come back to him. So it looked like Aaron Love was going to drive away. Not so much. Now the McElroy race is closing in again, and we're going to have a battle for the lead.
So down to Dandenong Road corner we go. We pick up Jones, second position, 7/10 of a second. So he hasn't lost touch. We're heading towards the final 3 laps of this race. So we head down to pit lane with Emma.
Yeah, just checking in with Michael Henry. Some mixed emotions at the moment with not great news for Max, but Aaron looking strong.
Yeah, Aaron's done a great job because he didn't win the start, so he's done well. Now Max has just got to push on and get him. So, yeah, all good really from Aaron's perspective, but Max will be right. We'll press on.
Thanks for luck.
No worries.
So got a lot of stress going on down in the pits there for that crew today. Sewell now sets the fastest lap of the race in third position, but now it's on for first and second. It's less than half a second, and plenty of time still in this race for Harry Jones to move back into P1 where he qualified for race number 1 here today.
There'll be thoughts possibly going through the mind of Harry Jones. Remember, he's got a massive championship lead. It's 116 points. It's a big margin when you're paying 60 points for a race win. He's almost got 2 races up his sleeve. It's almost Scotty McLaughlin's domination, thanks to his consistency. So that will be playing in his mind. He doesn't need to pass Aaron Love. He's got a very big championship lead, but he'll really want to pass him. He wants to keep winning races and put that championship out of doubt. So there's a bit of column A and a bit of column B, and he's got to find a happy medium. If he's got the car speed to do it, Harry Jones, young Queenslander, may well slide by. But Aaron Love, who was a winner twice at the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit earlier this year, you and I called those races. Yeah. They were pretty extraordinary stuff. So far delivering already. Here goes Jones, championship leader. Great run out of the final corner. Is he down far enough the inside at 1? He is not.
Lap traffic ahead though could play a part. He'll clear out the way just in time. So Ryan Sewell continues. He lowers the lap record once again, 1:10.01. He's third, 2.3 seconds behind. As this race really turns up, every single race this year has had the makings of being the last race of the year.
Yeah, it's world championship deciding stuff, isn't it? We've still got a round and a half to go. Harry got a really good run through turn 4. Good power down on that new surface down there, and he's tacked up behind the rear wing of car 78. 17-year-old West Australian leads the way. The 21-year-old from Queensland in behind. These are the young, bright stars of Australian motor racing's future, and they're coming up to a critical moment because they're getting into the Tag Heuer Pro-Am runners. And they need to negotiate these guys as cleanly and quickly as they can. And this could be race-deciding stuff for Aaron Love.
No, it's busy. There's still 2 cars. They've split 1 at the final turn. It'll be 1 lap to go here in race number 1. Who's going to win this? These lap traffic in front now will play a critical role. It's cost him a bit of time, Harry Jones. Dropped him back 0.3 of a second with a couple of cars still ahead on this, the final lap.
So the key for me will be Harry getting a good run out of turn 4 here and getting that toe up the back straight. Off the road goes Graham Williams, teammate to Aaron Love. Will there be an assist here or will it hinder the race leader? It's going to hurt Aaron. The young West Aussie's been balked and Jones is now right up behind. Key moment above a touch and Ryan Sewell's in the mix as well. It's a 3-car battle for the lead on the last lap.
Suddenly come out of nowhere. That gap was 2 seconds. It's 0. He may very well get second position here. He's tucked in behind the back of the Helimods, number 12. He'll make him go the outside here. Who's going to commit? Who's going to break first? Give it to Jones and think just. They go side by side. The leader runs wide. The second place car runs wide. This is on with a few turns remaining.
That was extraordinary. Aaron Love, all on his own. The teammates behind were barreling off and he just dropped it wide on the exit. Gathered it up. He's still got a car length, but Ryan Sewell is second now. And he's going down the outside. There's contact and he's off the road. He's lost the rear of car 7 and he's thrown it away in the final corner. Aaron Love's going to win it.
This is insane. And after all of that, Love wins it in a thriller here at Sandown. We told you, we promised you this was going to be a thrilling finish, and it delivered in the final 250 metres. And that puts Ryan Sewell down into 4th position, and now Murray is off the track in the final set of turns here in the gravel trap. Unbelievable finish here.
The Morris Finance driver is well bunkered on the final lap. Class B driver in the older model car. Aaron Love did everything he could to throw that away on the final lap, Matt. He ran wide at the top of turn 6, probably looking in his mirrors to seeing what the McElrea drivers were doing because they were banging doors in the fight for second place.
Wow.
Harry Jones, who could have won that and also could have ended up parked against a wall, somehow manages to finish second and continues an extraordinary streak every race in the top 3 so far this year.
Unbelievable. Love gets it done by 1.6 seconds. Harry Jones second, and Pancioni gets the top 3 out of all of that, but 6 seconds away. Ryan Sewell, who spun himself out, 4th position. Vidot 5th. Taplin, Bolton studded. Sam Shaheen inside that top 10, and Oliver Shannon completing the 10 in the GWR Australia entry.
Spare a mention for Ollie Shannon, his first ever Porsche race in really difficult conditions, jumping into the GWR car, Aussie racing car driver. That's a terrific job. Ross McGregor just outside the top 10. Michael Hovey recovered to 13th from the back of the field. David Gregg will win Class B and 15th outright. Andrew Goldie we saw limping around in the Woodford Trailers car. Rounds out the field. That was wild. And there's still 2 more to go, Matt Nolte. Dramas for Jonathan Glixton in the Lend Us Some Muscle Friedrich Ataxia supported car. It's an amazing cause and quite a lot of damage to the right front corner. Right,
where do we start?
Let's go and unpick all this, Matt, because it could take some time. Extraordinary motor race. Harry Jones, dominant early, pulled a 2.5 second margin, but got balked by some traffic, got reeled in by Aaron Love, who did the full send at turn 6, went down the inside, and that was a key moment in the motor race.
Great moment of the race as well. That was a 76 going off the track of Pancioni. That was early in the stage. That dropped him down outside the top 5 initially, but he'd claw his way back up into 3rd position.
Jonathan Glixton was in the thick of the action there. He ultimately finished 14th in that one, despite having that damage that we saw right at the end. And then this moment, Max Vidot down the inside of Ryan Sewell. So Ryan was further across down to the apex than I thought, but it was probably still a car with up the inside. It was a big move from the young South Aussie. Race control and Stephen Johnson, who's the driver standards advisor, will look at all that. This was the final lap. Key moment there. And that bit of contact just balked the Helimods car. So the race leader goes wide at the top of the hill. Ryan Sewell goes, thank you, I'll take second spot away. And then he went for the race lead into the final chicane. Graham Williams was spearing off all on his own onto the old international track last year in 1984. And then this moment going into the right-hander, Sewell threw everything at it. Points for trying. He didn't die wondering in that. Ended up with a new lap record as well. Had the fastest car. Just couldn't quite execute in the final few corners.
But Aaron Love would get the nod at the end there. 1.6 seconds was the win in race number 1. And Glixton's car just limping across the line there in car number 3. He finished down in 14th position. Well, 2 more races still to go in the Porsche Michelin GT3 Cup Challenge. But big story is coming up soon. The S5000s are warming up for qualifying. The first ever round in the series history is up next here at Sandown.